What's that? What? No, I don't care. I don't care if you gotta blow up half of Manhattan. Blow them all up, okay? I just need out of here. I need out of the internet. Get me out. Oh, hi. It's good to see you all. This is some guy again coming to you from the internet. Here to talk to you about the momentous occasion that just passed. I apologize, there's been a little bit of time in between when I usually release these. I would have liked to release it closer to 300, but I have released 300 songs for the year. Hooray! Now, this is mostly, at this stage in my mind, the way I look at it, and this is no insult to my fans, who I'm very grateful for, the fans that I have experienced as existing. Quite grateful for them. But this video really is like a journal in my mind. For me, and, you know, for the people that, like my mom was like, I really look forward to seeing this video. So it's also for her, but I look at this video very much as it's like a personal conversation with me. I'm going to come back to this and say, yeah, that year where I was rapping, what was going on? How was I feeling? What epiphanies did I have? So, hey there, future me. It's past me. You remember? Yeah, we've been through a lot together, huh? I don't know if you should be doing that thing you're doing now, but I'll live with it. It's fine. Well, obviously I will in the future. But yeah, past me, this is how past me was feeling. So, let's go through the songs first before I start talking about like my general feelings that I developed through the 200s. Because that's what we're doing for this video, is we're going to talk about the videos, because I've done thus far. I talked about all of the videos from 1 to 99 as far as my favorites within or 1 to 100. All my favorites within that. And then I went to my favorites within 101 to 200. And now this video is the top 10 from 201 to 300. So let's get into that, shall we? So my honorable mention is day 278. This one time I was just sitting by myself right on the living room couch. It was about 12:38. When a cold hand brushed against my neck, I jumped up with a yelp and saw another me staring back in my face. I went, "What the fuck?" Then he replied with, "Hush." I saw his breath like it was winter after making a statement. His skin was much paler, bags beneath his eyes. I said, "I'll call the cops if you don't start to explain." His eyes locked onto mine and a grin slowly came. So at this point within my rapping journey, I had started to reach a point where I realized I had a weakness, which is that I didn't really know, even though I had done songs where I rapped with a slow flow, with like a more conversational style flow, that there were a lot of times where, let's say I would start a song very late and I didn't really have much time to be able to dedicate for making that song. Well, in those situations, often my rhythms and my cadence didn't fit the pocket well. It was not in the pocket. I would kind of like quickly write something together, and I wasn't able to just have like the default sort of like you're talking and rapping. I wasn't able to really exist very well within that. I kept having problems with dragging. Like I would drag out a statement and be like, "Just because I do say this is why I think that you should." And it's like you can kind of tell you're dragging out your syllables to match the meter, which sounds unnatural and it doesn't sound good. And I feel like it's one of those things that kind of separates the guys that are really good in rap from the guys who are more amateurish. And so I saw that I was dragging more of my syllables within certain parts of the meter. My meter was inconsistent. It was just kind of like falling apart at times. And I said, you know what? I should just take some time to just focus on rapping slow flow or like conversationally, just like talking rapping. And so I focused on that for a long period. I feel like there's actually a lot of songs within that period that are not very good at all, because I'm working on it, you know? It's a big part of this musical journey is me failing to get better. And thank goodness I did it, because like that's the way you get better. You have to do this sort of thing, and I'm grateful for doing it. But with this song specifically, I was like, I want to have a song where it really does feel like a conversation because of how much I'm putting emphasis in a way that's conversational. Conversational inflection. Like right now, I'm saying da 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 da. Now when you rap, a lot of the time you don't do conversational inflection. Sometimes you do, but sometimes it's more musical, you know, sometimes it's more feeling based. And I wanted one that was more very specifically conversational inflection. And so I thought of an artist that I feel like does that very well is the artist Stimuli. If you're not familiar with Stimuli, you should be. He's great. Will be one of my favorite MCs for my entire life. Great artist. He's got a storytelling song called The Realist.
This young kid around my way said he saw me spitting hard on the deal. And then he asked me, was my life real? I pinched myself like, I think so. I'm standing here breathing. He said, nah, you don't know what I'm meaning. Did you ever get shot, stabbed in a jail? I said, damn, if I was dead or locked up in a cell, I'd be the man.
And that song, I feel like, does a very good job of including conversational inflection. And so I thought, okay, if I want to have conversational inflection to make it really feel like it's conversational rapping, that I should do a storytelling song. And so I was writing it, and I didn't really know where I was going to go with it, but I ended up deciding on it being that there was a person that appeared that was the representation of my doubt, and then I have a conversation with him about my doubt, and how there isn't anything wrong with expression, which has been a big theme for me along the journey of encountering more feedback from the public. One of the things that I've had to like really drive home with myself is that even if everything I do is complete trash, even if I have just terrible music, it doesn't matter, because there's nothing wrong with expression. Even if what you're doing is bad, it's okay to express. There isn't a reason to feel guilty for expression, even if the expression doesn't exist within the realm of skill. And so I kind of just manifested that dialogue that I've been having all year about that into a storytelling song, and personified it with this, you know, dark version of myself that I'm arguing with. And I was quite satisfied with it. A lot of people said they liked the storytelling song, and I like telling stories. Like I've said before, I want to put out some songs that, or I want to do series that include more storytelling within it going forward. I have a lot of ideas surrounding storytelling raps that are like long, storytelling going from song to song that continues, because I feel like that's kind of an undertapped thing within hip-hop. And so yeah, it's good when I'm able to execute it well, and that's what I felt about this song, and that's why I picked it as my honorable mention, Day 278. Alright, at number 10 is Day 202.
I got pain, I don't feel no more. Fate of a troubadour. Shame left it by the door. Fame, but your agent's orange. Woo! That'll make you burn. You world playing a bird blue. Up to claim insurance through. Out you had your turn. Medicine man with the crock pot. Blend with my hands, hit your snot box. Watch Uncle Sam as he nods off. Heard all your plans sound like dot 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 dot.
I like Day 202 because I feel like this song came out of me after I had spent a lot of time listening to new school rappers, a lot of the rappers I had kind of poo-pooed for being mumble rap, so to speak. And I kind of started, during that whole time period, I was developing more of an understanding of just being like recklessly into your own fun of the song. You know, really getting into, like, I'm doing this because it's like, it's my own bop. It's my own energy bop. You know, I'm in my space like, yes, I'm celebrating. This is a celebration of me, of my feelings. And I feel like that exists in a lot of the young artists where they're like, they're so much in their own energy that they're creating like a celebration of self that's very real, very visceral, that comes through, you know, their rhythms, and they're you know, they're very focused on the rhythmic aspect of it, and like more of the, like the spirit, I feel like, of the song itself than of the technical you know, stuff. And I feel like that kind of, with the other song that I listed in the hundreds, that was kind of my mumble rap tribute. That one came, I feel like, more because I wanted to prove that I could do it. But this one was more like an organic, just like, this is what came out of me that day. And I feel like it, you know, it has like a very Denzel Curry sort of feel, who's an artist that I definitely think is great. You know, that sort of just playing within the music and being willing to be, you know, more playful with the cadences, and but in that own like coolness of celebration of self. I think that existed in that song, and that's why I liked it. So that's why I picked out Day 202 as number 10. For number 9, we have Day 229.
Feel. Let my feet loose, let me see through all the clouds around me. Found my ground as this beat moves. I can cling to how this sound surrounds me at this hour. Sit in this high design, vivid a hive of mine, feeling this vibrant shine, witness my mind define.
Day 229 is basically capturing a commentary on an important epiphany that I had within the 200 series, which is that the most important thing on my musical journey is for me to focus on the feeling that's occurring as I'm creating the lyrics, as I'm expressing the lyrics, as I'm feeling the lyrics and feeling the performance, and in the midst of all of that, in the midst of the creation. That's the realest part. The part that's, you know, you're have a theory in your head of what it's going to be and how it's going to be received. I feel like that's not as real as when you're actually just feeling out what you're doing and experiencing the feeling of what you're doing, and how it's registering for you, the resonances of your own performance and your own expression. And so that's something that I had earlier on, this epiphany, but I made the song about that, and that's why I had the chorus, if you will, to be feel, 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 feel. And I'm just talking about that phenomenon of like the feeling of it really starting to connect with me more on the journey than it had before. And so it's just me describing the experience that was already starting to come more to the forefront for me within going on this journey. So that's why I picked Day 229. I think it's a very fun song in the same way that a lot of the songs around that time were fun and more indulgently expressive in a certain way that I think was very good for me. I'm glad that I had that period of doing that. And that's why I picked it, Day 229 at number 9. Okay, at number 8, I picked Day 209.
Bum, stickity bum, here I come, I break the sun between my thumb and do-si-do within the darkness spun. Yup, how you gonna deal with this picture in society? Dying on a hill over pictures, here's a glimmer. Ocean of myself within the river. Row your boat, you know there's only hope when you give up. Riddle me this, if your identity's affixed to what society insists, then is the I in you just his? Watch as the monolith tells on itself. It's like Monopoly, build a hotel. You like state property, boxed in, get help. Yes, these words bump, you can read it in braille. Say, oh well, beneath the Bodhi tree, I focus on the trails.
Now, I like Day 209 because I had, up to that point, not really had a clear song that I was able to point to people and say, if you want to experience me really killing it, you should listen to this song. It would always change. Like I would be throwing songs from this and that, and I feel like Day 209 was the first one where I was like, nobody can deny that I'm killing it on this song. And I mean, you could, I guess, if you're a big hater, but it became a thing where it was like, when I put it up, I got nothing but, you know, positive reviews back. And, you know, I feel like my mindset right at that moment was like very intuitively and locked with the rhythm of how I rapped, my delivery, the being more willing to create interesting input in what I'm saying and what I'm doing. I felt like I was in a good space to really create something that was appealing on both ends, for me and for the audience. And I think a lot of the songs that I'm going to pick in these top 10s, like I don't actually care at all whether or not the audience liked it. I think a lot of my journey is me understanding that the most important thing, above all, is for me to never go into a space where I'm torturing myself to be able to make music that other people are going to like. That first and foremost, if I do not like it, then the quintessential piece of me doing this forever has been lost. Like, there's a very, very good chance that I'm never going to make it in the hip-hop world. And so the idea of slaving over doing it for other people, when you know that it's quite unlikely that you're never going to make it, is foolish. You should always be, more than anything, indulging your own sensibility about what's enjoyable. But I like 209 just because I feel like on both ends I was able to satisfy, I really like this, I like the whole experience of creating it, you guys like it, we're in the middle now, and if somebody's like, well, hey, you shouldn't be rapping, if I want to, which I should just ignore them, because who gives a fuck what they have to say. But if I wanted to, I could point to that and say, hey, look at this, I killed it. And if they're hating at that point, I could say, oh, well, you're just a hater. You know? Or you're so hard to satisfy at that point that whatever. I shouldn't care anyway, because everything I do is legitimate. Everything I do deserves some level of validity from me, whether or not anyone else is willing to give it. But if we're going to go by some standardization of, let's say, whether or not other people should appreciate what I'm saying, I feel like I can put that one forward confidently and say, this is something where I was able to participate within that game. And so I like, you know, Day 209 as being something that was able to very, very well get into that pocket of saying, look, I can do it to the level, to the specs of being as good as good as you guys are looking for. I can match that as well, and I think I proved that in Day 209. So that's why that is number 8, Day 209. At number 7 is Day 231.
Oh, what a feeling, my dreams that are falling as I catch them midair and stare at the sharpest edges as darkness enters. Given a time and space to hide my brain inside a paint inside my name. Come right up under the nicest flames. So thirsty, I'm burning. I learned that to earn it, I kill off what's certain. The softness, secureness, I'm back and see I have a dream. The masses leave, the master's leash to practice free. Dum diddy diddy dum dum, what a love I haven't enough, so I speak his number till it comes in.
I like Day 231 because there's so much going on there that I feel like I did well. This is within the, there's different phases within the year. The two main phases that I had within the year was the rap for yourself, purely for yourself. It was that phase, and then there was rap slow flow, master slow flow. Those were the two phases of the year. Or not of the year, of the 200s. Within the 200s, there was me rapping solely for me, for my own fun, for my own pleasure, and mastering slow flow. And this was in the space of the rapping for me and for fun. And I just feel like within that time of me doing that, this is one of the ones that I feel like has the best, looking back on it, just experiencing it, one of the best pockets. The rhythms that I'm doing within it, I really enjoyed, and I felt like they were very intuitively gathered, and I just love the rhythms of this song. And where I was changing my flows, I really appreciated that. I liked a little bit of singing added in there. And I just feel like it's a catchy little bit, and that, you know, just listening to a little bit, I feel like it would have been really easy for me to get the style of my rapping stuck in my head. Because I feel like I do have a tendency of, like, exploring different rhythms and cadences in the 200s. I definitely did a decent amount of that. But I feel like this one is done in a way that I feel like more easily gets stuck in your head, because I feel like there is a certain level of repetition to it that is tastefully done. And I think that adds even another layer to it. But I love the song. I feel like I did a lot of things within that very well. And I just enjoy it. It is one that I think that I was able to do everything that I wanted to do within that period in a way that I think executed it well. And that's why I picked Day 231 for number 7. Alright, at number 6 is Day 250.
I wanna feel outstanding, I wanna feel amazing. Don't tell me about the same shit, you all just say the same shit. It's not a conversation, we just fill in the blanks and live with a sense of blankness. I wanna feel outstanding, I wanna feel amazing. Never give way to them that okay, murdering children, them in mass graves. It doesn't take much of your mind up, then they do Simon. Simon says, do their dance, then their hands up your ass to puppet a puppet, and y'all suddenly care about this, that, some trash trans people in sports, as if games are important to life directly. The bread circus has us on bent knees adeptly.
Now, what I like about Day 250 is that I was still within that journey. Like I said, in the 200s, the 2 points, the 2 phases I was in was the expression and fun, being solely focused on doing it for me, and then there was the slow flow. This is another song that was within the expression for me and fun rapping phase. But it was one of the songs that I feel like I'm able to use that style and then mix it, balance it between real commentary, real feelings that I had very strongly about the world at large. So I was offering these opinions about the world at large, and just these very strong personal, political, socioeconomic, cultural thoughts that I was having, but do it within that same space and style of the fun playfulness that I had been doing that entire way. And the fact that I was able to do that without having it kind of crash and burn in the process, I really enjoyed it. I felt like I did it decently well. And even though, you know, when you try, I think a lot of the time, and you'll see this within my more recent work within the 300s, a lot of the time when you try and introduce more clear ideas, it gets in the way of your ability to be able to execute the side of the song that is like the rhythms, the vocal projection, because you're really focused on trying to create a space where where there's continuity of thought. There's a story that's being told, and when you have that story that's being told, it's directly going to conflict with your ability to do rhythms right, to be able to do vocal projection right, because you're going to be so focused on making sure that you have a complete picture of the story that you're not as focused on making sure that the rhythms are airtight and that the vocal projection, when you're recording it, you're more focused on making sure you get your cadences just right within the space that you were able to create cadences, that often that is a less majestic piece. So just other parts, often when you focus on having a clear narrative from the beginning to ending, other parts start to get, I think, a little bit neglected. But I think within this, even if you could see flaws within it potentially, I feel like there's more it being right on in execution. And so I was really happy that I was able to balance the two well, and I was able to balance something that's really important, which is the act of caring about socioeconomic, political, cultural matters and having them expressed in a song, something that matters to me, while having this fun and doing it for me in an expressive way that's unique to me and fun to me. And so I really appreciate Day 250 because I feel like it blended all of those things together well, and I think it did it in a way that worked. And so that's why I put Day 250 as number 6. All right, at number 5 is Day 239.
How many white ways can I speak? Speak freedom. Killed every sacred cow, it's plain I need and graze more sheep here. Loving this flavor, but time is weighing on my chest. Words turn into curses, merging with the angel of death. Better count your wasted breaths here. Regret is a fiend that pays to keep your chains. You leave your game to face the margins. Mark of the exile on my forehead. Now you won't see me beg your pardon like it's a hearing. A disappeared, so it's pro se. I'm pro saying words that my throat ain't.
Now what I liked about Day 39 is that I was able to incorporate, as I've been talking about, this is during the period of fun rapping, of rapping that's very indulgent in expression of self, playing with rhythms, cadence, all that. What I like about this one is that I was able to do a lot of, I feel like, sneaky wordplay in it. And I also just like the feeling of it, you know. My voice that I come in with, I'm playing a lot with my voice, and I feel like it's another thing I learned on this journey is how much the three most important things I think in rap right now in order to make yourself appear to be like really decent is the texture of your voice, exactly how your voice is sounding and how you make your voice sound, the inflection that you put into your voice. So how you're actually delivering everything that you say, you know, if you're putting power behind it or not, and your rhythm. Those are the three most important things. And there's a whole lot more important things. Like if you have those three things, but you don't have, you know, an interesting message, if you don't have good metaphors, if you don't have good wordplay, people might not like it. But those three things, at the very least, are very important. And so I spent a lot more time trying to focus on like the exact texture of my voice, and doing a lot of singing within this space I think helped me to like really very loosely explore different sounds of my voice, and I like that aspect a lot. But there's really good, I feel like, you know, obviously it's not the most densely layered wordplay that's ever been made on a track, but I think there's some really solid wordplay in there. I like the way I played with the cadence, and I really like my singing and my voice, just the character of my voice in the track. You know, a lot of these I feel like I kind of stayed within a certain space within these hundreds, whereas the last hundreds it was like every song kind of represented a different mentality. With all of these, they're kind of within those two channels, those 2 points of like slow flow or fun expressiveness that were existing in those worlds. So I just don't feel like there's as much that I really have to offer an explanation, as that this is another iteration of the fun rapping that I was doing, and that but it was the one that I feel like included the most wordplay, and I did really like my voice texture within it. And so that's why I put Day 239 at number 5. All right, at number 4 is Day 279.
In this moment I could see myself. I'm feeling bigger than I've ever felt. The lions play with me in their enclosure. I no longer feel exposed. Lost a piece but not the whole. Visions of the sun I never had, telling me I'm on my path. You can get there in a couple laps. My words are peeling back the layers. It's okay, come on, give me your hand so I can take away the pain that's strong. Close your eyes, see the beauty that resides in the best version of you, in the base of your soul. I will never escape these fears, but the weight is different than when I was swimming in my tears. It was all good just a week before. A man dies 1,000,000 times before he sees his core.
Now, one of the things I like about Day 279, speaking to the voice texture, is that I don't remember what song it was exactly, but I remember seeing that somebody commented, wow, your voice is amazing. Something to this effect. Your voice is amazing. I feel like I could just listen to it forever. I don't remember exactly what they said, but they were very positive about my voice. And I thought, man, my voice is like the worst voice ever for rapping. I've thought that for years. I've been like, if it weren't for this pesky voice of mine, because I have the ideas, I have the writing, but like, performing it and then my voice, and I've always had this thing with my voice. So to have somebody say that to me, and if you listen to the beginning, like listen to the first like 50 songs in this series, and you'll see like, I'm definitely not like, I feel like presenting a character in my voice that I think is like, oh wow, this is a great voice, that anybody would feel that way. So to hear somebody say that, I said, man, I guess my voice could be really good, and that if I just focus on it more, if I'm more attentive to that. And so, I listened to another one of Yoyo Studios, which, by the way, I rapped on a ton of their beats in this series. They just have good beats, and I also like the fact that it sounds like they're not sampling. It sounds like they're making the beats from scratch, and they do such a good job of that. And but it's really easy sometimes to just click on one channel, immediately find your beat, and you're like, oh, I'm on it. And so I went through a lot of Yoyo Studios beats just because they were like reliably very good beats. I heard it and had this, very like emotional sounding beat, very like introspective sounding, and I liked that a lot. And I knew within that song that no matter what happened, I wanted to very heavily focus on my voice and my texture being this like soft blanket, and making sure that when people go through this, they can feel the comfort of my voice when I'm doing it. And because that was such a heavy focus in that, I feel like that really made it stick out to me. But I also really like that because of that beat being as emotional and introspective, it put me in a space of like wanting to be, like a safe space. I tried to almost rap as if I was a safe space for people to listen to this song. And I feel like I've done that a little bit before, but I feel like I executed it the best that I have thus far within that song. And I also gave like a little bit of my own like existential turmoil and emotions and weakness. And I just think it's great. I really think that it works as an introspective song. So that's why, apologize, I drank lots of carbonated water. And that's why I would put Day 279 at number 4. All right, at number 3, we have Day 287.
My tongue keeps leaping from my mouth, looking for a hidden door to hide from doubt, filled with swords caressing scalps. My sense of patience like a bull inside an Apple store. All this fathoming, I'm swimming in the afterthoughts. I'll fill the pool with spit, including tentacles, stemming from my grip on who I am at 10 and 2. Build a chrysalis of syllables that pin me, and I sit within these words until I slip into a different skin. Two-headed politicians trying to tell me that they're about to give birth to Jesus when it's just Caesar in their belly. I Helen Keller past the filler, stick my head inside the source until I vomit God's inhaler at this gala. The party's over, took the freak off on my shoulder. Now he's living in these quotes with words that start to show a pulse here.
So I forgot to mention in the last song that was also a slow flow. This one's a slow flow song. I do want to mention actually that there were a couple songs that didn't make it onto this list, which I'm not going to go into a lot of details about. Day 294 and Day 276. Those 2 days I feel like were kind of the epitome of me taking the slow, conversational, natural flow and me existing in it very, very comfortably. So as far as like rhythmically, which ones were the best, I might give it to those. I feel like those were executed very well. But I think what appealed to me more generally was the balancing of the slow flow, natural rhythm with me doing something unique within a song. And the reason I picked out Day 287 is because within this song, I'm doing the natural slow flow, but I'm also doing very interesting, imaginative, metaphorical stuff the entire time. You know, I'm thinking of like J Electronica, Cannabis. I'm thinking of like guys that are really stick out for having like imaginative material in what they say. And so, yeah, I just went as far as I could with that while I feel like having a very solid delivery and cadence and rhythm within the that slow flow setting, within the parameters of that. And I think it came out quite well. I was really satisfied with it. The funny thing is that when I was first recording it, I was sensing a decent amount of drag within my rapping. And so then I felt like I had to focus. This happens a lot, where I'll start to feel like it sounds a little too mechanical and like robotic. And I'm trying to make sure that there isn't any drag, or it sounds like it's very obvious where the rhythm is, so it sounds a little too mechanical and it doesn't sound natural. And what'll happen is I'm so focused on me trying to make it sound natural, I'm giving it more of like a looseness in the way that I'm delivering it, to make it not sound like a da 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 da, because that can just sound like kind of, I feel like it takes the life out of the song a lot of times, and it takes a lot of the charm out of it. So I'll focus really heavily on that, and then I won't focus as heavily on how I deliver my inflection, on the voice and the vocal, the texture of the voice, like I'm saying. And so I think in that song, I had to focus more on making sure the rhythms didn't sound at all mechanical, or that there wasn't any dragging. So I focused way more on that to accomplish that. And I remember finishing up and being like, I don't know, I feel like the inflection could have been more dynamic, the voice texture could have been better. And so I'm kind of like beating myself up about it. And then I listened to it the next day and I'm like, this is like one of my favorite songs. This is great. And so that's one of the things where when you're stuck inside of the space of making the song, often you're going to be really critical of yourself. But then when you're able to step back and actually listen to it outside of that, you start to understand your work is good, you know. And sometimes the next day I'll listen and I'll go, oh no, that still is bad. But, you know, sometimes I'll get lucky and I'll say, oh, this actually was a lot better than what I thought it was. But anyway, I really just like, I feel like that's the top of when I went into that period where I was like, I need to be able to master pulling out slow flow whenever I need to make a song quickly. Of all of those days, this is my favorite one. Because I just thought it was so imaginative, and I feel like it really captured my uniqueness. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of cool visuals in there. The idea of like politicians giving birth to Jesus and there's Caesar in their belly instead, Julius Caesar. And then like I'm vomiting God's inhaler, like little things like that. I just thought it's like, that's such an interesting way of saying things. And I was happy with how I captured it. So that's why I put Day 287 at number 3. Okay, at number 2 we have Day 215.
Nothing to do but lie to you until I'm famous. I am the newest antichrist for you to blindly put your faith in, amen. All I can do is waste my time, wait for the war when I can bomb, killing my own to feel alive, amen. Show me some love as the replacement. They were a dud, but now you've taken all of my time. You are my savior, amen. Loving to watch me while I suffer. Tell me I'm trash, I'll never come up. Hoping they die within this summer, amen. Notice you carrying a burden, unconcerned, it's not my purpose. Keep that hurt, your life's not worth it, amen.
Now what I like about Day 215 is, and this has happened to me a couple times during my journey, is while I listen to a beat, I start to come up with a concept for a song, and before I've even written like half of it, it's totally fleshed out in my head. It's like a concept song, and it takes virtually no time, and I just like construct this concept song that works perfectly with the song. And so the concept of this song is just that I'm using, as a refrain I say amen over and over again, but I'm juxtaposing it in the lyrics with all of the ways in which I'm horridly sinful. I'm not Christian, but like all of the ways that I'm animalistic, I'm indulgent, I'm not altruistic, I'm not compassionate, and all the ways that it really resonates in me to not be any of those things, and confronting those things and being honest about those things existing. I think that's a really important part of my music, if nothing else. I want to create as much honesty as possible within these spaces. Unless it's a song that's satire, then obviously it's satire and it has its own purpose. But I care way more about being honest than, winning favorites or being a favorite of people. The journey for me of artistic expression is finding what's going on in myself and really speaking to it. And if I'm hiding anything, then that's a very corrupted journey. But I really like the juxtaposition of, saying all these very flawed pieces inside of me and then saying amen after each line. I thought that was artistically pretty tasteful in how it was done. And then I really like that at the end I had this whole idea of that I would get really worked up. I would have like a loudness that crescendos, it goes up and up. And then as I'm finishing my last lines, it goes down, 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 and down. Amen. And I did a bunch of takes to get that right. And I feel like I did get it right. And I really liked that a lot of the time I'm not thinking of dynamics like that. Of like, now let's get our verse really, really, really loud and then bring it back down. And so, like, this song felt like there was, like, a lot more completed within it before I even completed it. And I really like it when that happens. It feels like just time, space, the world, how everything is going in my brain is just working that day. And it was. It was like everything was clicking into space. And I really enjoyed it. And I don't know, dealing in a space of, like, morality and bigger questions, how I fail to meet people's moral compass often, and me having to deal with these philosophical questions of what is acceptable in behavior and in feelings, and then seeing that I'm far from it, and that reckoning, and then putting it through the guise of symbolism of the religious archetypes that we have. I just felt like it hit well. I enjoyed it a lot, and that's why I put it at number 2, and that is Day 215. I put it number 2. Now, in the last series, I did, instead of honorable, or in between 2 and 1, I had a bunch of songs that I showed that I just wanted, that I had put into consideration as being songs that should get more attention. I don't want to do that, but then that was in the first one. In the second one, I decided to replace that with the songs that have gotten the most views. And I like to do that just as like a give back to the people that are watching. And so I'll talk a little bit about those songs. And so let's go through them. So right now, my highest viewed YouTube video is Day 219.
Barrels and barrels of wherewithal buried beneath the monsters. Why do you speak as if the flame was only feeding on the feeling you're heating on a birth occurring this evening? I saw your picture, it was whisked off to the morgue. Something about how you was holding on to swords because you're bored. Because your innocence innocently changed his depiction to gremlin sounds, speaking water to vowels. Onomatopoeia, I don't wanna be a real boy. The land of toys where I'm deployed, where I enjoy the stickety strumpet, diggity bump, I catch my tongue. It's nothing personal, David. I'm programmed to be a slave in this matrix. My master taught me a song, would you like to hear it, baby? It goes a daisy, a daisy, a daisy, a daisy, a daffodil. Vagisil in your happy meal, grab a pill, crush it and catch a feel. I was created to pass butter, to add to production, making love to the meats for each summer.
And in regard to Day 219, it has 899 views last I checked, and I'm very happy with that. That's the most views. It's more views. It's a YouTube video, and it has that many views, and it has more views than all of my YouTube shorts, which are usually the most high-performing thing. So it's awesome that that's performing that highly. That was the day after I had my big epiphany, which felt, it was like a feeling epiphany that I had. So I was still in the afterglow of that, and I was still very much just like, I'm doing whatever is fun for me. I was very explorative. I was doing weird things with my voice, and I was having fun doing weird things with my voice, and I was being very playful, very funny. And, you know, it just, I feel like it existed just like the day before it, in a space of being delightful for me to do because of my own just like gravitation towards, this is fun, let me do this, I'm having lots of fun doing it. And so, yeah, it's cool that one of those days ended up getting that much, that level of views, more views. Because those days are some of my favorite within it. It's just me feeling like it's totally grasped by the fun of making the music. And that's cool because, you know, a lot of the time through this series, it's like, oh, I gotta write a song. Damn. You know, it's like a looming specter that sits over my shoulder for the day. Like, I still gotta get out this creativity. And during that time, it was like, no, I'm rushing towards it because I love this, because this is fun, because this is the type of thing I want to do, because there's a reason I gravitated towards rapping. And so it's cool that, like, that came out of me. And I'm happy that those types of songs performed well as far as with views. I mean, well, relative to what I have on my channel currently. On TikTok, the highest viewed video was Day 201.
I gotta quick throw some shit together because I didn't measure my time correctly, trying to set up a vlog and edit. Too much time has passed, should have been rhyming at 6:30, not 12. This is not ideal. I feel bad. If I can flex my discipline, I will figure out how to get out the box you slip me in. Be the water that little by little makes whatever hindrance give way, even a small force that stays.
Now, this one just feels random, and I feel like a lot of TikTok stuff is like, I think the reason why Day 201 got as much feedback, or as many views as it did, is because there were a bunch of guys commenting that they thought I was trash. Which, thanks. But, I don't know, the song is basically about how I'm rushing to write the song, which I did. I rushed to write the song. I thought the rhythm was done well. I thought I executed the cadence well. But, you know, I'm not really talking about anything because I'm just talking about how I got to rush to finish the song. And, you know, I think it's funny that, like, the success that I had on TikTok is just from people being like, this sucks. So it's like, oh, okay, well, that's good that my most viewed video is just people being like, you're not good. Because it's like, I still was actually solid within that time. There's plenty of people that I think put lots of time into their raps that I don't think have as appealing of structure as that song did. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I just, you know, I'll make note of the fact that my highest viewed video on TikTok is basically just people hating on me. And then other people liked it. Most people, this is the important thing to remember. I had like 4 people hating on me in the comments. And then I got like 10, 15 likes or something. I can't remember the amount of likes, but I got more likes than I got, you know, people commenting saying they didn't like it. And I got more views than I got, you know, people saying they didn't like it. So overall, it's actually more positive than it is negative. But it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, you want to know the phenomenon by which your video is getting more views? It's hatred. And it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. Because, you know, I want to get into it more in the section where I talk about just my feelings, but, like, I don't have to be good. The idea that we have to be good as performers in society is something that comes from a consumer-based perspective. But it's like, it's okay for anybody to want to make noises with their mouth, to be expressive. Expression is not something to be ashamed of. Unless you're saying something that's really hurtful, really harmful, you shouldn't be worried about expression. And I'm in the comfort of my home and putting it on a channel that people don't need to watch at all. They don't have to watch it. So I'm not harming anybody. So at that point, there's no reason why I should ever feel ashamed of expressing. And so, you know, I don't care. If you guys don't like it, it's like, I put this up as a technical way to potentially grow. If there are people out there who like it, cool. But I do it because I'm pro-expression, and people should be pro-expression. I feel like a lot of you people out there are sad. You have sad lives, and you're sad human beings because you are afraid to be expressive and to follow your expression, and so you have nothing. And you're afraid because you don't want people to think that you're trash. And it's like, yeah, but those people are trash. Those people are just sitting in the comments being commenters. Why do you care? It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's move on. So my most liked TikTok video thus far, or actually no, my most liked TikTok video from 200s, we're doing the 200s, so 201 to 300, is day 208.
Lipstick on a pig, you finger fucking a midget like itty bitty so big you finna fumble. Little bubble, little buddy, I don't tussle. In the comments, I'm a vomit on the shuttle. Show your father how to son you. Know that you wish that looks translated a gift. I ain't come here for a pageant, you bitch. Jerk off to Travis since you after some dick. It's 24 explore attractions, it's lit. You couldn't take up my piss if your silly straw wiggled betwixt my balls. Sipping on my tip for 7 million minutes long. Give your all. I'm 7 planets from your speak and spell answers, trying to squeeze a sweet language till it bleeds out Spanish.
That has 41 likes, along with 799 views. So, decent amount. And 41 likes is, I'm really happy with that, because I think that's the most I've ever gotten on any of the videos that I've done. And that's a weird one. I was trying to say really intensely exciting things. I was trying to say weird stuff. My brother-in-law, who's a smart guy, and a lot of the times when I see him at family gatherings, he'll talk about what he thinks would be smart for me to do with my music. And he said the most important thing is to, when he was talking to me about my raps and what he thought about my raps, is he said the important thing is to say something that excites or interests people. And it's a simple observation, but I don't think a lot of the time when people start out their verse, that they're thinking in that moment, oh, I better say something really that's gonna just pull them in immediately. People are, I think, just kind of like going with their, I'm a rapper, da 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 da. I'm just gonna say whatever comes to mind. And being, I think, within that space of like, let me actually say something that's gonna like immediately have people like, wait, what? And then just tie them in. I think that is actually a good mentality to have as a discipline for how you're going to do a song. And so I think a lot of the strangeness that I was putting in that verse came from that ideology of like, let me actually like fully try to say interesting things within these spaces that'll really bring people in. And I feel like it was right around the time that I did the other song that I listed, Right Back At You. These are both, beats that are already established. Problem Child and Right Back At You's Mobb Deep and 50 Cent. And I feel like when I was in that space, I was already also very mindful of like being in good pockets, and I was focused really heavily on the rhythm and rapping in a certain way that I think was appealing to the audience to hear. So it makes sense that that one was picked, and I'm happy to have day 208 be the most like of the 200s. Of all, the most liked TikTok video is day 302. And I'm not going to get into day 302 because that's not part of the 200s. It's me rapping over Jeezy's Get Your Mind Right, and I feel like I did some cool stuff within that song. But yeah, it's we'll save that for when we go through. Actually, when I get to the end of the series, I just, instead of doing the 300s, I just want to do my top 10 of all of them. So that's how that'll go. But yeah, so that covers all of the most viewed and most liked of the songs thus far. All right, at number 1 is day 218.
Shut the fuck up, huh? The fuck you even saying, man? Look at you with your face. You got fucking
kissing this loose leaf. How you doing? I'm feeling great, bit this plate, rawr, 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 rawr. Give me mustard. I was thinking about thinking, no, I can't learn. Oh shit, oh shucks, oh just for a drop of blood. I said, Wingardium Leviosa, Wingardium Leviosa. I should just say other rappers' raps, then say that they're mine. Real G's move in silence like Pakistan. I'm here to fuck the ugliness in my heart between my hands like a common sandwich.
Day 218 is what I would say in this series thus far, and I imagine it will be the most significant moment within the entire year, is the day I snapped. The day I remember sitting there, and, you know, in the past couple days that I had been making music, I just felt like this level of frustration. I had, like, just so much frustration about the process of making music and how I just kept encountering dissatisfaction in myself, dissatisfaction from the audience. I mean, even if you're dealing with a smaller amount of people giving negative feedback, it can still have a significant impact if you're consuming all of that negative feedback. So I had dissatisfaction with myself as far as, like, you know, you get to the end of the night and sometimes the thing that you were hoping to create isn't good enough, or, you know, you just didn't have enough time in the day to be able to create something, and you had a really high ambition for what you were creating, and at the end of it, it just didn't come out to be the picture that you wanted it to be. So I just had all these different feelings of pressure, and all of it had to surround that I wanted to be a good rapper, and I wanted to have the space of being a good rapper. And just, you know, I've been fighting so hard to, like, each song I'm putting in all this technical wizardry. I'm like, boom, 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 let me, all these things impressive that I'm doing to build up for the audience. And, you know, I'm sitting there feeling like, I'm never good enough. I'm not good enough to be able to make this. And, they never understand. I'm always trying to explain to them why they're wrong. And, their judgment doesn't make any sense against me. And there's all of this feeling of negativity. And I was just sitting there, and I was listening to beats a little bit, and I was like, what if I just stopped caring at all about anything other than how good does it feel to say or do something? And I had a vision of, what if there was nobody else on the planet? Or what if I was stranded on an island and I had it's just by some weird magic that once a month I would get access to a computer and it was able to run a laptop with a full battery, and I didn't have access to internet, I didn't have access to any of the means to be able to save myself, and on this island, I'm able to eat, and there's, for some reason, rations of food and drink and whatever. But I'm once a month, I'm able to have access to a laptop that has beats, and I have a microphone, and I can record a rap. And so I haven't been able to have any stimulus at all other than nature. And I get this opportunity to experience something that I really love, instrumentals and rapping instrumentals. And just the pure love of it. Because nobody else is going to listen to it, it's just me. And the act of how I go about rapping on it, I just thought, like, what if that was the only thing that mattered? What if the only thing that mattered was just, does this feel good when you're doing it? Does this not feel good while you're doing it? How does everything feel? Are you enjoying yourself? Is this an enjoyable expression that's taking place? Are you feeling great as it's happening? Is this entertaining you? Are you feeling, as you're making it, are you enjoying it? And as you're thinking of it, are you enjoying it? And is this just a joy to come forward to? So I got into this space of just, and I remember it was like my whole brain chemistry felt like it changed. And it just felt so significant, that moment, that I was just like, I was light on my feet. I felt like I was on 1,000. And I remember listening to that beat, and just immediately I was just like, fun. Have fun with it. Just say whatever the hell. Have fun. Don't care at all about, is this technically skillful enough? Because that was just haunting me. It was just hanging over my back the entire time. And I finally just completely let it go and said, all that matters is, am I having fun here? And it was, I can't explain how liberating that felt. And when I put that song out, it was just like, I don't know, it was a breakthrough that I can't even explain how much it meant to me. Because I can't explain how much fatigue you can get on a journey like this in making music. I was like, you know, there were little bits of me being able to like, oh, hey, what if I did this? And then, but it was all still being filtered through a mindset that was like, I don't like how this sounds. I don't like how this sounds. I'm not good enough. This is not good enough. And I finally said, fuck all of this shit. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy. And that was my only focus, was enjoyment. And I would bet basically everything that when it comes to the end of the 300s, we get to the end of all of this, this is going to be my number one pick. Now, you can listen to the song and say, well, you didn't really do this. It doesn't matter. That's not what that's about. The material and the performance in and of itself, if you were to just have that in a vacuum and just look at the song and say, well, the quality of this song, how quality is it? That doesn't matter. It's what the song meant to me. And the song meant an evolving and being in a place of pure escape of stress, of removing. It was a complete removing of stress and just being immersed. It was a complete immersion in my own joy. And, you know, after that happened, I had, you know, I want to say about a week or so where I was still doing that. And eventually it was like, it almost, with everything, like it started to feel like I was forcing myself into that space, and that's not how I really felt. But I wanted to be, I was chasing that feeling of like, let's just have fun with it. But after a while, it felt like I didn't know how to have fun with it. And I was just like chasing after this may be fun or not. And then there's another revelation after that, which is that don't try and force anything. Just, you know, come to the plate and say, okay, this is what's naturally coming from me, and just sit, observe that, and allow that to come through. And, but that was such a critical turning point for my music, or at least for this series, is for me to say, it's more than anything. It's about you enjoying it. Enjoy it. Really enjoy it. And I did, and it was like so many of the days in the past, and all the weight of feeling like I had to match up with the days, it just washed away. And it was wonderful. And, you know, every once in a while I think something happens in my life that feels almost sublime, almost religious. And that was the moment for me. And so, you know, and I got hate on that song, and that's cool. You know, I'm totally cool with that happening as a phenomenon. Like I said, I just feel like it's so much better to express. It's so much better to express, and the height of expression is not other people receiving it and enjoying it. It's your enjoyment. You being able to enjoy your expression and be satisfied with your expression. Now, I also love hip-hop, and that means that I love the technical aspects of it. So an indulgent expression for me is often leaning into the technical aspects, and I enjoy those. But just being able to reconfigure the whole scenario of it being away from, I'm going to have this be a source of stress because of the need to validate skill. Removing that piece, I just feel like changed so much of my mindset in a way that really helped me. And to the point where it's like, I don't think there can be anything unhealthy about me rapping anymore. I think sometimes I kind of was pushing myself into a space of like self-torture. And now it's like, I'm happy doing this. I like rap, I love rap, I love the opportunity to try rapping, to try and get good at it, to try and express myself, to see what I can do within it and see how much I can entertain myself, and that's awesome. And I hope there's some people that see it, that say, hey, this is pretty cool, and come along on the ride with me. But first and foremost, I'm definitely doing it to see how much I can, make myself feel good. And I think in all art, it's got to be kind of like a masturbatory thing, on some level. It's like you're truly in touch with your own sensibilities and what excites you and what makes you happy. And starting there is very important. And so, yeah, that's, maybe I could speak on it more, but I feel like that's generally the idea behind day 218, and that's why I put it at number 1. So let's get to my feelings. So, similar to within the 100s, in the 200s, there's the most prevalent factor in my feelings throughout, which is that it is hard for me to be able to get past the negative feedback that I receive in my music. I'll probably never fully get past that. It's just something that I don't see myself. The ideal thing for me to do would be for me to just not be fazed by it. But the reality is that whenever I experience negative feedback, I tend to be poisoned by it. By poison, I mean once I see a comment for hours after the fact, and maybe even into the next day, it'll affect my mood. Like I'll just be in a worse mood, more irritable, and then the statement, whatever they said, will reappear in my head over the next 24 hours. Will come and go, keep coming back to it. And to me, that's being like tampered with. And it's not really, it's just something that I don't really want, because it doesn't make sense for me to even be in that state, considering that it's not even the most prevalent thing. You'll get 10 likes and 1 negative comment. And so it's not a realistic representation of anything. But the thing is that, like, when I make my music, I go away from all of the outside stimulus, and I listen in to my inner voice. I sit there and say, what are you feeling most at this moment? And unfortunately, when I experience these different comments, there will usually be some level of hostility or frustration towards the audience within that. And like I'm saying, I don't think that that's, with 10 likes and 1 comment that's negative, is not even a realistic interpretation for me to be like, the audience, how dare you? When it's a fringe person within the audience that's saying it. So I don't think it would be fair for me to spend all my time focusing on that. But it's something that is impacting me enough to where that's the first thing that's on my mind. And I also don't think it's the most important thing to me. I think that would be proven out over what comes into my mind when I'm not encountering such a thing. Like, for example, 5 years from now, I'm not going to care about a comment I saw today. But I can't do anything about the comment affecting me today. It's the same as, like, if you're at work and your coworker's pissing you off. In 5 years, are you going to care about the coworker pissing you off? No, you're not. It's just going to be gone. You're going to be like, whatever, I don't even know why I was thinking about that. But in that moment, it's going to affect you. And that's that potent dosage. You're getting poisoned temporarily for that period. And so my whole narrative just wants to go towards those people, because I'm looking at my inner voice, and that's the thing that it's focused on. It's tampered with. It's not always that way, but a lot of the time that ends up being that way. So I ended up turning notifications off. And unfortunately, I feel like I'm missing a lot of positive feedback among people, because I just didn't want to have to think about people that were being negative, because it affects me in a way where it's like you're now derailing the entire... I want it when my inner voice comes forward, I want it to be something that actually is the thing that will matter 5 years from now, whatever it is I'm talking about. So I don't want it to be hijacked by things that don't matter and are not even realistic representations of what the audience is like, because it's a smaller percentage of the people that are being negative. So if you're out there and you've been giving me a lot of love and I'm not, hearting and liking and responding, I'm sorry. I turned off notifications. On TikTok, I especially did it because that was where the most heavy influx of people just, saying whatever the fuck to try and degrade what I was doing. And I just got tired of it. I was like, even if, let's say I had 7 likes, every video it's 3 guys commenting that I'm a cornball, loser, ugly, blah, 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 and it's like, I don't want to see that. Why would I want to see that? I want you guys to see my music. That's always going to be, like, on some level, even though, like I said, me first, I care about how I feel about it first. Still want it to be open to the public to be able to see, but I'm not trying to experience other people calling me a cornball all day. It's like, why would you want to experience that? So, I imagine I'm getting love, maybe even consistently from people on TikTok, but I have no idea, because I very rarely look in the comment section now. And so I do want to give some shout-outs. There was a guy who well, first I want to go with Ted Roxwell Beats, because he was one of the first guys in my comments that consistently was saying, "You're dope. Use all my beats if you want. You're fucking great. I like you a whole lot." And so that was like, outside of my family and friends, that's like the first fan I had. I really appreciate him being as cool as he was. Then there was Nomadic Blackout. We actually exchanged phone numbers, and I talked to him some. He was talking about, helping me with being able to get beats, and he makes beats. And Nomadic, I promise that before all of this is over, I'm going to use one of your beats. It's just I started school back up, and between classes and other obligations and just time management, I just am like, whenever I make a song, I'm generally rushing to get it done. And so I just haven't gotten around to making a song, and that's also why I didn't hit you up to do the, the video chat where we could bounce ideas off and you could start to make a beat while I was there. And I've been busy. But I really do appreciate you, and I appreciate, your giving me the positive feedback and saying I could, use your beats. And so I really appreciate you, Nomadic Blackout. And there's Stewee Tonez. Is that how you say it? Stewee Tonez. You've been commenting on I feel like the last, for a while there. You've missed some of them, but you've commented, I want to say like 20, 30 videos now that you've commented on and gave positive feedback. And man, that's awesome. I really appreciate it. You're like a consistent fan. I know, like, the first comment I believe that you left that I saw, I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And you had given me some constructive criticism. And, sometimes I am in a position where, and I'll get into that more, but like, sometimes I just don't want to go along with constructive criticism. Just because it's like, am I listening to myself versus am I listening to the audience? And that's like, a big part of the journey of the 200s, like I've been saying. But you've been cool this entire time. You even offered to help me mix and master the songs, and I really appreciate that. And if you're actually, if you want to do it, let me know. And I especially, going into 2025, when I try and make my own, when I'm trying to make music that I feel like is going to be more lasting, all the help that I can get, I definitely appreciate it. So shout out to you guys. And let's actually speak more to constructive criticism. I have no issue with, I didn't turn off notifications for constructive criticism. There are times where I'm not in the mood to be able to see any constructive criticism, because I just want it to be more, it's coming from me. It's not me coming from anybody's feedback. It's coming from me, not coming from a place where it's like an even exchange, or I'm paying attention to the outside. I want it to come from me. And, but for the most part, I don't have issues with constructive criticism. I think that it's something that's totally legitimate. And for you to be like, this is what I would like to see, this is what I think would make it an improvement, that's cool. And I like to consider it. It doesn't always end up being something that's useful just because, I don't know if it's clear, but I'm like a super duper hip hop head. I'm a super duper hip hop head, and I'm one of the more scrutinous people that listens to hip hop. And I have I could name off a million, like, I don't know how many of you are going to listen to this and be aware of who Saigon is. The people who are, grew up during the mixtape era will know who Saigon is. Well, you know Ali Vegas. I could do the name game of a million different artists, Do you know Beloved with like 4 Ds? There's guys that are coming out now that are underground. There's guys, I could go through all of battle rap and how many really small actors in battle rap are also quite good. There's endless names that I could ellipsis. There's endless names that I could pull out. And I'm really tuned into rap. I know rap. And so, as somebody who's very scrutinous of other rappers, you gotta appreciate that, like, when I hear my own shit, that same scrutiny, that same level of being willing to scrutinize exists towards me. I'm not just like have a blind spot and I don't hear my own shit. I hear it. And the issue, and I'll get more deep into it as we go through this, but the issue is just that it's already hit a point where it's like it's 4 or 5 in the morning and I've done what I can, and it's a song a day, and so I gotta turn the song in. And that's all there is to it. I can't really do anything about it, and so I'm turning in the song. But, so sometimes when it is like a constructive criticism, and it's like I basically already knew what the issue was, and it's just that I couldn't really fix it in time for it to not be a thing where it's like now I'm just losing sleep, and I'm into the next day trying to readjust this one song when I'm going to make another song the next day. It's like, that doesn't really make sense to do something like that. But I will say that that's not wholly the case. It's not that every time that I hear constructive feedback, it's like, oh, I've already thought of it. I do have blind spots to things that I haven't even considered. Often, I'll get advice from people that don't listen to that much rap, or are much more of a casual listener, or they only like listening to like club songs or like poppy rap or like more mainstream rap, because I feel like they give me insights on things that I haven't even considered. And so there are times where I absolutely love to hear, my wife is a perfect example as somebody who, isn't like a hip-hop head by any means, but she likes rap music and she likes the fun of rap music. A lot of times she can give me insights, I feel like, into what I'm doing, where I'm just so into like the puzzle aspect and like the high-brained lyrical miracle stuff that I'm not thinking about the very simple appeal of things. And so yeah, there's certainly times where the blind spot does kick in, and that's why generally it's not always the case that constructive criticism is just I already thought of it, but a lot of the time it is. And so that is a factor to consider when giving me constructive criticism. But at the end of the day, I look at constructive criticism as you guys are handling your dissatisfaction with what you're hearing from me in the most reasonable and mature way possible, by just being like, hey, you're even trying to throw me a bone by being like, hey, cool seeing your hustle here. Try doing this. That's like a really solid thing that you're doing. And I just sometimes might disregard it just because on my own journey, it's important for me to make sure that I'm really valuing my own perspective in order for me to still love doing this, that I might disregard it sometimes. But that doesn't mean that I don't perfectly respect constructive criticism, and I welcome it as much as possible. I just might skip it sometimes. And but like negative feedback, not constructive criticism, insults, calling me a cornball, calling me, a loser, ugly, whatever. That's the type of stuff, saying that you suck, you'll never be good enough. that's the type of stuff where it's like, I don't want to interact with that. I don't want to see it, and it will, like I said, poison me for hours afterwards, maybe even into the next day. Mood off, keeps pumping into my subconscious, in my head, in my inner voice. I don't want that. I don't need that, and so I'd rather just escape it if possible. And it'll be great once I get, older and mature enough. I hope that I reach a point within this journey. And it's gotten easier just even within this year, that as I've went, I've cared less and less about what somebody ends up saying, or somebody saying something that's disrespectful. It's mattered to me less and less. But when you're first encountering something, and I put out some music like back in, I think, 2011, and had people being disrespectful, and it mattered to me then. But I feel like I also put up more of a front that it didn't. And my whole way of going about music, I think, was less about sincerity than it was about just like me trying to do what I thought was technically cool. And but I feel like the little experience I've had with something like this, it's going to take me a little while to be able to get to a space where it's like, I see it, doesn't even matter to me. And this is a good experience for me to get to that point. I'm glad that I'm going through it, but it is something where just to be able to not make the day-to-day series messed up, I had to turn off notifications so I wouldn't just talk endlessly about a thing that's not really that artistically important to talk about. How people were willing to comment negative stuff on the internet. It's not really that critical to art really being interesting in its expression. So there's that. I do think it's also worth mentioning that what I'm trying to do this year by rapping every single day is a significant undertaking. Now, you might point to like artists that make more music than that. I've heard about sessions where Wayne knocked out like 10 songs in one day. Kendrick often will do that with his music. Tupac is known for like going in the studio and just boom, boom, knocking out a whole album in one session. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's impressive. It's really impressive, but I'm just a regular guy. I'm just some guy. And I don't think that I need to be exactly held to the same metrics. And it's not, unless you have that like exquisite work ethic. And this is another thing, like, if everything comes naturally to you and you're just naturally gifted, naturally the best rapper ever, and you don't have to work at it, and you can just pump out song after song and it takes you no time, that's great. Kudos to you, and you definitely should be a member of rap, and you're a natural wizard, and we're happy to have you in hip-hop. At least I am. I can't speak for everyone, but I think that's great. But I don't have to be like exceedingly great naturally at everything in order for me to make my way into it and to build to the point where I get good. A lot of people have to work on something to get good at it. And that's okay. It's quite alright for that to be the situation. And so this undertaking, I think for a lot of people at least, is a big undertaking to make a rap song a day. That's going to be a large undertaking to be able to endure something like that. And so I feel like within that, I am going, because it's that large of an undertaking, there is a chance that you're going to have points where you're not hitting. You're not able to make everything be great. And it's just that, like I said, because of all of the time constraints and because of just not every day you're going to feel inspired. There's so many different elements that can come into play into where being able to sustain like a really high quality all the time, I mean, that'd be nice. But I started out this journey with the idea of improving my ability to perform. So it wasn't even like an idea that I was already mastered the game and now I'm just showing off. It's like, no, I'm doing this to get better. And but I'll say I've killed it at this point many, many times. It might be up to 100 times, 100 plus times. Just on the simple math of it. I'm on day 315. I'm going to release day 315 tonight, 315. at that point, you've put out so much music that even if, let's say, only 1 out of 5 songs is good enough at that point, that's 64-ish, 64 songs at that point. That's still a lot of songs where you killed it. So, like, just the sheer law of large numbers, I've killed it a lot at this point. But, you know, there are the days where it's like I said, end of the day, and I'm starting to... Here's the other thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, is that, you know... So, you know, I start out late because I have other things going on in my day. And then I get to start writing the song, and I'm writing the song, I'm putting together lyrics, the lyrics are sounding good to me, I'm running it back, and then I get up there thinking that everything in my head that I was hearing translates well onto the mic. And I put the headphones on, and I start up Pro Tools, and I start running it back, and I start rapping, and when I hear it coming through, and I'm listening to myself, it sounds bad. There's a lot of stuff that I'm missing, a lot of blind spots that I didn't hear at all, that I wasn't aware of. It's like you can hear everything way more acutely once you get to that stage. But often when you get to that stage, it's like, it's go time. It's time to fucking record the verse. And you've been working on the verse all this time, and to be like, whoa, this doesn't sound right. I have to go back to the drawing board and rewrite it. It's like it's 3 in the morning, it's 4 in the morning. I have to keep working on this and put it forward. And some of you might ask, why don't you just write the verse with the headphones on while you're in Pro Tools, so then you can hear it as it goes, and then you don't have that issue where you spend a bunch of time working on the verse and you just didn't hear the issues with it clearly, and you would have heard it if you had that on. Well, it's really hard to just focus on rapping, for me at least, when I like to go into a room that's dark. I kind of like to just remove all stimulus. It's really easier to get the thoughts flowing when I can just be away from different distractions. And it's just me and, like, a pad or my phone. You know, my notepad and my phone open, and that's it. So... yeah, it would become a whole nother technical issue of me having to just sit there and try and think of things and not having thoughts flowing, because I just am distracted by too many things around me, which I've dealt with a decent amount while doing this. And, you know, this is the thing, the luxury of you not doing a song a day is that most times, usually, if somebody, you know, like, have an idea in their head, and then they execute it and something seems wrong, they can go, we're going to keep working on this. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and fix this. Because they don't have to turn it in that night. They don't have to turn it in a couple hours before it becomes the next day and you need to go to sleep to be a normal human being. So, you know, they have this whole luxury of, like, I can take more time on this. I can fix this issue. And, like, there's so many songs that would have been fucking monstrously good had I just had an extra day to be able to tweak the issues with it. And it's like, you know, but I didn't get that. I didn't get that extra day. But, you know, when I talk to people and I'll talk about how, like, yeah, some of these songs aren't good. I got to turn them in at the end of the day because that I don't have any more time to be able to work on it, and the little bit that I was able to do, you know, trying to, you know, have more of a lucid flow to take away from the robotic cadences and all this stuff, you know, I'll do a bunch of takes on, do 50 takes, and at that point there's still parts of it that I don't like. You know, I'll talk to my buddy about it and I'll tell him everything I did, and they'll say, well, you know, at that point people got to respect what you're doing. Because you're attempting every day to put out quality material. And they're right. That's really what it boils down to. Is you have to respect what I'm doing. You have to respect what I'm doing. Because it's an undertaking. And I have limitations. And I have handicaps. And I have situations where I don't have the opportunity to make a song better. And everybody that I've talked to about the situation, they're just like, the fact that you're doing this at all is respectable. I've not had one person be like, yeah, well, that's some loser shit. Nobody said that, you know. They're just like, kudos to you for doing something like this and respecting it. And so, like, I really do feel like if you're the type of person that sees that I'm trying every day, I'm doing my due diligence to try and make a good song, and you can see that I'm putting out a song every single day for the year, and you're still hating, like, bro, you're the loser in that situation. It's not me. I'm not the loser because I'm like really trying to tackle something and I'm dedicating and I'm doing something that everybody universally agrees on is impressive. And by the way, I've had people that are like rappers that have success, rappers that have gotten millions of views on YouTube, rappers that do well, you know, within the culture. They have liked my stuff. And maybe they were just being nice. It's possible they were being nice. But it's like, I'm not just going to sit here and be mad because I am going to get emotionally bothered. But like, I'm not going to actually consider that you're right. I'm not going to think that you're right when I have my own judgment. And then I have the judgment of people that have more success in this than you, and you're a faceless account, an anonymous account with a bunch of numbers at the end. And I'm supposed to be like, oh yeah, this guy's really got me my whole thing down. I don't know what's going on there. But again, I feel like if you go to, I'll link here my Twitter page, but the first song I posted, I said, my mission is to get better at performing because I felt like I wasn't good enough at performing my raps. When I tried recording raps of my own, I felt like the performance, the delivery was not good enough. So that was my first mission. The other one was also just to get myself to be inspired to make rap songs that I thought if I made them over and over again that I would eventually like making them and I would get back into the mode of inspiration to do it. And I think I've figured out a way to do that. And I also think that my performance, my delivery have gotten better. So no matter what happens in this, I successfully did what I came to do, which was to get better with my delivery and my performance. So I'm happy as far as that goes. Yeah. The other thing that I would say is I'm not claiming to be if you listen to my tracks, go through, there's maybe like a couple songs where I'm braggadocious. Most of the songs, it's not me being like very explicitly like, I'm better than you. I'm so much better than you. You're trash. I don't talk like that. I'm not like flexing on people about how much better I am than them. And if I do it, often I'm being satirical, I'm mocking, or it's like I'm building a fictional world with a character. Like, it's not like this is a real you suck compared to me. That's rare. And so, like, why are you coming to me to telling me I'm trash if I'm not over here saying that I'm the greatest or the best or anything like that? It's another layer of, like, I'm doing something that's really hard, and I'm not boasting about how great I am, and you're over here, like, trying to give me a hard time. And this is another thing, like, I feel like when people... Where I think it makes sense to go to somebody's music and be like, hey, you suck, is a guy that's really, really popular, or a musician, an artist that's really, really popular, that everybody likes, that you hear and you're like, their music is not good. And you don't understand the phenomenon of it, and everybody really likes it. Then I think it makes sense to go there and be like, hey, I want to be a downvote. I want to be somebody who voices a downvote against this person. I don't think that you have to. I think also that it would make sense to just not care and let them make their music and not worry about it. And not be a guy who's in there just like, you suck. But if you were to say you suck, the only place I feel like you go in there and you say you suck and it makes sense is there's already just like a huge contingency of people saying that it's good music, and you really don't like the music, and you don't like that it's prevalent everywhere. That makes sense to me. But you know what? That doesn't happen. People don't do that, because you're going to get chewed the fuck out if you do that. And the way I know that is because I've done things similar to that. I remember Pusha T, who is a very talented artist, very good punchlines and wordplay, very talented artist. he ended up, or I ended up posting something about how I didn't like the idea generally of drug dealing being a thing in the culture that was glorified as a glamorous outlet, and that people should be looking at it as an exciting and positive thing that we should all gravitate towards. I thought that was foolish, which, that's a whole other debate, and if you have a different opinion, that's fine. But that's all I said. I said, I don't really like that that's what his content is about. And I got like 20 plus replies to my commenting that on a tweet that was talking about him releasing his most recent album. And all of them were just like, you're an asshole. You're a piece of shit. You could never... Music's not even made for you, white boy. You suck. Da 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 da. And it's like, believe me, when somebody is popular, if you go after them for not being good, you're going to have to hear people talking shit to you. And, who cares? Boo-hoo, it's not that big of a deal to have people talk shit to you. But it's not as much fun. It's not as much fun then if you can go after somebody who's completely defenseless. It's almost like, how much are you going to be able to get away with, like, beating up a guy at Planet Fitness versus how much are you going to be able to get away with beating up your child? In your house, nobody's around, you just discipline them. You can rough them around, you can push them around because you're much bigger than them. What consequence really is there going to be? Now, if you push around the guy at Planet Fitness, there's probably more consequences. Or like, if we're in the animal kingdom and a predator, we'll see like in the pack of gazelle, oh, there's the young one. There's the one that's weak. There's the one on the outside. I can get that one. They're not going to go for the one that's super fast. And yeah, I just think that that's the nature of people, is they just want something easy to satisfy them and them, offering their criticism because they're hungry. I think what they're hungry for is something meaningful to happen, and them being expressive. They want to creatively express. And so they think they can satisfy with that, and they want to do that without there being a lot of backlash. And so, commenting that somebody sucks in a funny way. And by the way, like, the funniness in the comments that I've encountered, if you're actually funny, I don't mind it at all. Like, go ahead and criticize me, say all the fucked up shit you want about me, as long as you're, like, legitimately funny. There was a guy who said, well, now we know what happened to, was it... a member of Grand Theft Auto 5. Was it Lester or Trevor? One of those two characters. They said, well, now we know what happened to Lester after Grand Theft Auto 5. And I was like, oh, it's funny. That's good. And then somebody else said that I looked like a white Kendrick off of Power as a crackhead. That they reminded me of that with my raps, and I thought that was funny. You can say, like... There's one guy who said that I look like the number 47 because I just didn't understand at all what he was saying. Some humor I feel like just doesn't like translate very well. It's like, I look like the number 47. Okay. It's Gen Z humor, I guess, but, I didn't really guffaw at it, but it's also not offensive. It's like, well, yeah, 47, it's a number. I actually, I think I responded to... said something about Capital Steez, because, Capital Steez had that whole 47 thing, which, I'm sure would go way over that kid's head because, that's underground hip-hop, and I'm just going to know more about that probably than the average guy on YouTube. But yeah, then there's a lot of people that, you'll say something, and you're trying to be funny, and it's just not funny. It's just not, you're not funny. I'm sorry. If you had said it in a way that's a little more creative. The art of being funny, it's tough. I understand it. But, it just didn't do anything. But here's the other thing about all that is nobody remembers a commenter. So, you're trying to get yourself creatively expressed in a comment section. And why? Why are you doing that? Name one commenter. Anybody out there, I want you to be able to name one person who we remember for writing YouTube comments. Just name anyone, please, right now. One, write in the comments below. Who is a commenter that we all remember for their greatness? I'll give you time. You know why I'm giving you time? Because there's no one. That's not a thing. Being a great commenter is not a thing. No one will ever remember you. They might remember the comment. They're not going to remember who said it. If you want to be remembered, then do something that's artistically significant. I'm not saying that you need to rap, but you are right here listening to somebody rapping. So why not? Why not then say, I'm going to do rapping things because I'm already somebody who enjoys rap? You're not going to tell me that when you listen to rap, you don't also picture yourself rapping and fantasize about potentially being a rapper too when you listen to rap. I don't believe it. I think on some level, you like the idea of being a rapper just as much. And so it's like, why don't you do it? If you want that creativity and if you want that to be able to have expression, you want to be able to express yourself about how I'm not a, you know, when you're looking for this, it looks like you're looking for engagement in the comment section by trying to be funny and not being funny. And it's like, and I've seen that a lot, like on YouTube videos of people that are making beats. A lot of people will just comment in that section with something they're trying to get attention. It's very clearly they want the attention to go to them as opposed to the beat. And it's like, nobody's going to remember you. No, there's nothing about what you're doing that is going to be significant to anyone. And on some level, it doesn't even matter if my assessment is wrong and you're just like, I just wanted to say it sucks because it sucks to me and I don't really care about belonging anywhere. Okay. I'll believe that. On some level, belonging is central to the human condition. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you will see belonging to a community as part of it. So whether or not you're willing to admit that's what's going on within you, that's a thing. And you very clearly want to belong to a community. Commenting is not going to get you there. You should spend so you're wasting your time with a comment. Unless it's a comment that's positive. If it's a comment that's positive, then you're just being a normal consumer of hip-hop. But like when you're trying to shit on people, that's not a thing. That's not like, it's the rejection of artists, and it's like, it doesn't do anything. There's no, you're not going to, you might as well not waste your time on it because it doesn't, what are you trying to accomplish? When you tell somebody that they're good, there's a clear thing you're trying to accomplish, which is encouragement. If you're trying to discourage an artist, it's not going to work. Like, if somebody is that frail that they're just going to give up as soon as somebody says that they suck, then they didn't really even want to be doing that to begin with. It's certainly not going to happen with a guy that fucking puts out a song every day for the entire year. You ain't budging that motherfucker, you know? So it's like, what are you even trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? And why would discouragement of somebody else be something that's important to you? That's the opposite of making connections. That's the opposite of being connected. It's just saying that you don't like things. Like, I don't feel that connected to country because I don't generally like most country songs. That's not me being part of a community, not liking country songs, you know? That's the absence of a culture. The culture part comes in where you like a thing. And so, like, you know, if you don't like me, just why not move on and then comment on the person that you do like and then tell them that you like them. Simple enough solution for that. But even then, like, just liking something isn't going to be the solution to being a part of a community. You have to do something. You have to do something artistically significant. Is it dancing? Is it painting? Is it rapping? Is it singing? I don't know what it is, but you got to do something, and commenting isn't it. And so you should be spending your time differently. And like, yeah, I still feel like it's kind of pussy for you to be going after an artist that's really small, that doesn't have any way to defend themselves. Instead of going after an artist that's really big and established, you go after small artists, and you're doing it in a way, you're not becoming anything, you're not doing anything, you're just a commenter, and you'll be forgotten. You will not be remembered. No one will ever remember you until you do something that's significant. So you want to actually like do something that will be remembered. Make a song in response to me. Make a song to my year and tell me about how I suck. Or you could even like try and record yourself talking about how I suck. If you make a video about how I suck, I can respect that a little bit more. It's not art, and I don't really even think you're belonging to that much of a community. You could say you belong to the vlogging community or the podcasting community or something like that, content creator community. You could say that. You at least can claim that. But, I mean, really, it's not even the same level. What I'm doing is a significant... I mean, I think there might have been somebody who did something like this before. There was someone I remember seeing online way back that it seemed like they were trying to record a rap every day. But I have since not been able to find them. And they definitely weren't doing it on the level that I was doing. They were just like pulling out their phone and recording. They played a beat in the background. They had, handful of bars. Me, I've gone in and I'm recording it on Pro Tools. I'm recording it to the highest quality that I can. I do a video along with it. I'm going in with this, man. And I'm doing it every day. And that's significant. And, like, a comment is just, come on, a comment? That's it. You should have to respond with a rap. You should have to respond with a rap. Or something artistic. Do a painting of me where you don't like. That shows your disrespect of me. Do a good caricature of me. Outside of that, I just feel like, you're definitely not belonging. Your activity is very clearly not making you belong to anything. You belong to nothing. No one will remember you, like I'm saying. So it's time wasting, for sure time wasting, and you're going after the little guy. That's pussy shit. So don't be on pussy shit. Belong to something. Don't be a time waster. Actually do something. Don't just be a commenter that everyone will forget. Be something that's meaningful. You know what you like. Go after something that's meaningful. Don't worry about me. I'm over here doing my thingy thing, baby. I'm not worried about it, okay? I mean, I am, because I've been talking about it this long. But I'm obviously not stopping. You see I'm not stopping, don't you? So, at the very least, you might be getting me to talk, but you're not slowing me down. So, yeah, that's generally my thoughts on that. And the thing is, most people are not going to come forward and do any of the things I'm talking about. Be artistic. Make more, be a dancer, be a singer, be a painter. Do these artistic, expressive things because we've rewarded the communities of scrutiny too much. This is a consumer-based society, a consumer-dominated society. So the people that do things like comment are rewarded enough. They're not rewarded to be remembered. They're not remembered. But they're rewarded enough to where it seems like something that's sufficient enough within your time, the way you spend your time. It's not, though. It's very clearly not. But I think because we're a consumer-based society, and people are afraid. People are terrified. People are terrified to step up and actually make music or make paintings, do art, do something that's beautiful and expressive and challenging and interesting. People are afraid to do that because they're worried that people online will say that they suck. There are a lot of people out there who make music that never put their music out, and it's because they don't want people to see them. They're afraid of that. And I think a lot of people don't ever do a thing involved in a thing because they know it would take too much time and they don't want to be challenged. And they're insecure. The idea of them having to be challenged on a thing and then have somebody say that they're potentially not good is such a significant thing that they would avoid doing things they think are awesome and cool and that they admire other people for and that they spend their time consuming. And they just want to be a consumer instead because they're afraid that if they actually tried to belong, which they obviously do want to belong, that they wouldn't, and they would be turned away and told that they're not good. And it's sad. And, but like, everybody can be good. Everybody can be good. Your grandmother can be good at rap. If she decided to dedicate herself to it right now, she could be good at rap. There's nobody barred entry. I don't care where you're at currently. You could be a 12-year-old. You come in right now and you start making a song a day like I did. Put yourself out there. Make a song a day every day. You're going to get it eventually. You will get it. And like, you know, that's all I'm saying is that wouldn't it just be better if you belonged to something? That's really what you want. You're wasting your time anyway. You know that you're wasting your time. Instead, decide to belong to something that's meaningful, that you'll look back on 5 years later and say, that was a great way that I spent my time. I'm really grateful. I'm really enriched. I'm really thankful for how I spent my time. I'm really not trying to come for your neck that hard. I'm just saying that, like, I definitely had to shut off my being in contact with the negative stuff. But on the flip side, like, you guys do need to get it together. Like, tighten up. It's not as cute as you think it is, and people are not going to remember you that long if they do remember you. Most of the memes that I have where somebody had a comment about what somebody did, I don't remember them. I remember Kendrick. I remember I remember Cool Keith. I remember... I'm trying to give you, like... Kemba. I remember Kemba. I remember Benjamin Earl Turner. I'm giving you underground names now because I'm trying to make it clear that I remember people that people don't actually know that well. I remember those people because they did something that was meaningful. Do something that's meaningful. You can. You have the capacity. Look at me. Look at this whole series as an example. I wasn't that good in the beginning. I'm a good writer. I've always been a good writer. But the performance side, I struggled with it. You could be just like me. And even if you're not a good writer, it doesn't matter. You put yourself in this enough times, you're going to get good at it. So instead of, like, trying to just degrade what I'm trying to do, which anybody whose opinion I respect that I brought this to, they've said, that's impressive, I respect that, what I'm doing. They would respect you too, for the hustle, for trying to do it. So yeah, just don't fall victim to the consumer-based culture. Don't just be a consumer. Don't just be a commenter. Don't be easily forgotten. Do something meaningful. And I know it's supposed to be about my feelings, but my feelings did for a long time want to just get across that, like, a lot of this has to do with me wanting to not feel guilty about putting out a rap song and maybe it's not good enough. Like I said, sometimes time constraints, sometimes it just doesn't, in my head, doesn't translate to what it sounds like when recorded. And so sometimes it just doesn't work out. And so a lot of this is like me being able to say, don't feel bad about the fact that you put out a song that really doesn't sound that good because you needed to satisfy your daily song. And so on so many levels, I do draw up like clear thought patterns. Like, hey, these guys need to find something to belong to. And it's true. And so I'm sharing this for me. I'm sharing this for you. We're both sharing together now. And since you've been, willing to share your thoughts that I feel like are kind of, you just, impulsively throwing out some thoughts, I thought I would give you some thoughts that I've thought about for a while. All right, other thoughts. Well, let me again shout out the people that I feel like have been positive. Let me look at the list again. Ted Roxwell Beats, of course, my man. Nomadic Blackout. Again, I'm doing a song of yours before the series is over. Mark my words. And Stewee Tonez, thanks for being such a cool supporter, commenting every time. I really do appreciate you, bro. And there were a couple other commenters that it looked like they were pretty consistently commenting on my stuff during the 200s. And I was just quickly going through it, and I don't actually, like, you guys got weird names with numbers in it, and you don't have, like, a profile picture, and it was just kind of hard. I feel like I was mixing up people. Yeah, sorry. I didn't want to take too much time looking at it. But I appreciate you. If you came to my video and said, hey, that shit's dope at all, I appreciate you. Thank you. You're dope. You're dope for showing support to somebody who, you know, is trying to do, you know, at least what I consider a noble pursuit to get myself better and to try and honor a promise I made to myself of a song every day. And so it's cool to get that encouragement. I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, other than the criticism stuff, I feel like I generally feel solid. I think I've gotten into a rhythm now to where I know exactly how to do whatever it is I need to do. I find the beat, it agrees with me. I observe what my feelings are surrounding it. I give way to it. And the creation is something that maybe it will hit, maybe it won't. But I know how to create that part. And then if I had an extra day, this is the thing. Once I get extra days, it's going to be so many more songs that are going to be great. You know, because I'll have that extra day to tweak it to be exactly what I was thinking in my head or how to make it in a way that actually does work. And so, you know, the creative process for me feels like a cakewalk now. Sometimes I have trouble with, like, think really hard if I'm trying to make a song that's heavy metaphors. Or I'll think really hard if it's a song that's heavy punchlines or wordplay. But other than that, you know, it's like, kind of comes to me pretty easily now. And it's just that working out the little kinks at the end sometimes can be a little frustrating, but it is what it is. I really do think that I'm getting better at writing songs in a very short time window. Like I'll have, you know, about an hour that I spend or less on writing lyrics and to a beat, and I'll end up coming up with something that's decent in quality, and then I'm able to get up here and do my takes, and I'll get to a point where I record something that's decent for a short amount of time that's put in, and I'm happy with that. You know, it's good that I'm able to work it when it's quick, and then it's good that I'm able to work it when I have more time. It's all good. I did just recently make a few songs that I wasn't satisfied with, and you know, I just think that's part of me getting, it's character building. In order for me to mature and become more of a man, and even like be less frustrated by stuff like this of, oh, I'm vulnerable, I'm going to be criticized. The more that you put yourself out there and not worry about it, the less you're going to worry about that sort of a thing. The more you're going to get used to it, the more you normalize it. So this is all good for me. All good things. So, as you probably already know, I have another video that I plan to do at the end, recapping the entire experience once I get to day 366, because it's a leap year this year. The next day, I will, or maybe the next day after that, maybe I'll celebrate, you know, for the day after. But the next day after that, I will for sure have a video that I'm putting up that talks about all my experiences in between then and now, and just recaps which songs I think are in the top 10 of all of them. So, because I want to have more content for that video, I'll go more into detail about what I'm planning to do in 2025. But, you know, I'm just a short note. I'm going to try and get down making beats. I haven't really worked that much on making beats. I've made like one beat before, basically. And I want to get that more under my wing, being able to do that. And other than that, I feel like I'll be spending a lot of time working on singular projects and not as much on just random one-offs, rapping, you know. I probably still will upload a song here and there outside of the projects that I make. And I think I will still try and spend my free time writing and performing songs even if I don't upload them, just to be able to keep myself in that groove of liking to write and liking to make music. But the main things will be those singular projects, and then getting better at writing beats, or making beats rather. So I think that's about it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys if you've been a supporter. Thank you to the specific supporters that I've mentioned. Thank you to my mom, my dad, my family, my wife, and all the people that have been really supportive thus far. And I'm just, we're on the last leg now, and I'm nearly there, and we're doing it. We're doing it, and it's going to be done, and we'll have done it, and that's a cool thing. So, this is some guy signing off. Peace.
Bus in a cherry Pepsi.